Hello, you have reached the Gator. How y'all doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. Been a while since my last broadcast. Um, Digging through the old tablet today, and decided, we really, if you look at what they're doing, music, and what they're doing to movies, and what they've done to New York, L.A. I mean, Jesus, man. We need a 1980s revolution. The thing I remember about the 80s, besides great, great, great music, probably the greatest music of all time because we had Queen, full force, Ozzy was kicking, Dio was kicking, White Snake was hammering. I mean, Def Leppard was up and coming at that time. I mean, they were on it, but they weren't like surpassing Motley Crue and Poison at that time. They were like running right behind them, and then all of a sudden, as time progressed on, bands messed up and people lost jobs that shouldn't have lost jobs, being frontmen. We won't name no names, by dumb, stupid, ignorant choices in life, pure jealousy. Um, but Cincinnati loves his ass. I can tell you that. Vince Neil, Cincinnati, Ohio loves you. But anyway, um, we really, I mean, we had the Headbangers Ball. The LA Strip was just humming, man. I mean, you could almost see the glow from Ohio from the LA Strip. It just shines so bright. Everybody I know wanted to go out to the LA Strip. Everybody. And I became a truck driver, and, I got out there about 2006 as a trainee, and I thought it was the most disgusting place on the face of the earth. People were wading through trash in the street. It was just disgusting. People were living in dumpsters. It was just unreal. It was just so surreal. It was like, oh my God. Can this really be happening in America? And then I got to thinking, you heard about things like that in the 80s, but not quite to the, not, I mean, it wasn't up in America's face like it is now. Me myself, I think it's because they pulled the music industry out of LA and they put it over in Afghanistan or whoever owns it over across seas. Now, I have recently found out that most of your metal from overseas is owned by, um, how should I put this nicely? Iraq, Afghanistan, Turkey, over in that area. They got, they've bought most of the rights and everything to the music and to the bands. But irregardless, I mean, that's not stopping us from starting new companies, signing bands, and having home sessions until this COVID thing's over. I mean, we can start getting fired up now for a revolution of music, is what I'm talking about. A revolution of music. Peaceable, fun loving, good time in music. What happened? I remember the day when Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses would come together. Motley Crue and Rat would come together. Poison and Bon Jovi would come together, and there was no beefs, no difficulties. The guitarists got along. Everybody helped each other write music. Everybody got along. Everybody got credit for what they done. Yeah. Now it's like he stole my, he stole my Barbie doll. I'm gonna break his GI Joe kind of bullshit. We got to stop this, man. There's too much love in the world, and I mean, it breaks my heart. It's not just the 80s music. I mean, the greatest guitarist of all time, think about it, came out of the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You had Jimi Hendrix, Ritchie Blackmore, Yngwie Malmsteen, George Lynch, Jakey Lee, Randy Rhoads. Oh my God. So, I mean, oh. The guy must have been born strumming with his hand. I mean, we had Stevie Ray Vaughan with the blues. They called it the Lightning Blues at that time. You know, he was traveling a lot with Buddy Guy and Albert Collins. And not just Albert Collins. What was the other guy's name? Albert King. I also remember when The Hobbit was required reading in school. I remember standing up, pledging allegiance, and being proud to do that for my country as a child. Knowing my brother was in the Navy on the sea somewhere ready to defend our country. You know, I was always proud of that. We need to bring some pride back to America. We need to bring back, you know, I remember going to the gym and working out with my buddies, and I've let myself down, and a lot of other people let themselves down, and we're good at blaming other people when we are the problem and the fault. What we got to do is we got to come together. We got to help one another. I'm calling for a 1980s style musical revolution this year. If they lift the ban on the COVID, I will be front and center. I am writing every day. I hope others will join me, maybe even help me. You know, I mean, one hand washes the other. You know, I respect Nuclear, the record label, and you know, I respect everybody. You know, I don't want to say I disrespect anyone. I respect everybody. I remember the days of Casablanca back in the mid 70s with Kiss. You know, that was their record label, was Casablanca. Maybe I should look them up. Anyway, and I'm not joking about that. I mean, I don't know what happened to all these companies. I mean, we used to have BMG, EMG, or not EMG, EMG's pickup. BMG, we had Virgin, we had Electra, we had, I mean, Casablanca. There were so many record labels. Now they're all gone. You know. Okay, you may not have wanted to pay $80 million to Vince Neil for a 4-record deal. But when you did pay that, you got your money back times 500. He made you extremely wealthy because you got a chunk of, you got a lot of the record sales. You got a lot of the, I mean, anytime that he put his face on a magazine or whatever, I mean, it was just gold. I mean, Vince Neil couldn't do no wrong at that time. You know, I remember the Kramer, and this would be for you guitar buffs. I remember the Kramer Night Swan lightning guitar that they made for Vivian Campbell. People can say what they want about Kramer. You can't say too much about him that's bad, because, I mean, Eddie Van Halen played him for a while. Vivian Campbell played him. Amazing guitarist. Mick Mars played him. Awesome guitarist. But probably the most underrated guitarist out there, Mick Mars. and Jakey Lee as well. I mean, but Jakey Lee, he was a Charvel. Charvel was what they called the hot rod guitar. And I'm not talking about this to give guitar lessons and bring back, but my thing is we all need to come together, work together in America to make each other prosperous and get America out of this rut. Not all of us can be rock stars or rap stars or prima donnas or whatever, presidents or celebrities or whatever, But we can entertain the ones who are not. And that's what we're missing, right? We're not worried about entertaining the people who didn't get the chance to know what we know. And we need to put our knowledge to use. And we need to come out this year. I mean, America has never taken a back seat. We created heavy metal here, and they've stole it from us, and it's time to fight and take it back. What the hell are we thinking? We are Americans. Stand together, stand united, and stand up and take back our music. What are we allowing them to do across seas? Now, I'm not calling for Armageddon or nothing. I'm just saying, come on. I mean, Nightwish, they're incredible. We couldn't do that here? Seriously? Melissa Bonney, we ain't got no women who can do that here? Seriously? And just, I ain't going to name no names. I complimented a young lady on her vocal, and she's an American. And sorry about that. She put something up on Instagram. She put something up on Instagram, and I was very polite. And it was back when it was, time for us to vote however we felt the country. And man, the response I got, I was very nice. I mean, I said nothing to her but I guess she's a vegan and she was like, well, if you don't feel the way I do, fuck you, fuck your mother. Won't you go dig her dead body up and go eat her? Literally, I mean, that's what this person said to me. And I'm like, and my mother passed a few years ago. If you're a star, and I'm just putting this out there, if you're a star, and I've bought your music, which I've bought her music, I threw it away now, of course. I mean, nobody's stupid. Somebody who acts like that doesn't deserve anything that they've got, in my personal opinion. But I don't want to see nothing bad happen to her. I wish her the best. But that was the most ugliest person I think I've ever had the displeasure of having a conversation with online. If I ever meet her in person, and she's a vegan. In fact, it was something about that, I believe. And I think I just named a vegan dish. And she said it wasn't vegan, and she went off. I mean, she snapped. Anyway, I don't care what kind of mood I'm in or whatever, PMS, whatever, I don't have PMS, but if I did have PMS, I wouldn't talk to a fan like that, because that's the kind of stuff that destroys you. Straight up. That's the kind of stuff that destroys you right there. And, I mean, no doubt I could throw her name out and they could more than likely dig it up on the internet where she said what she said to me, or whoever her representative said what they said. I'm pretty sure it was her herself to be that bold. But that was very unclassy. You know, there are some people in the past that treated their fans very ugly, and we need to, I don't want to say rein that in. I'm just saying we need to, you know, think about, okay, this person they're part of the reason, that such and such has a Lamborghini, or they're the reason that they live in a $35, $85,000 or $85 million mansion, whatever, you know. I'm just throwing numbers out. But you get what I'm saying. And then to turn around and treat your fans that way. Wow. It takes balls, man. It takes balls. I mean, straight up, that's the epitome of what everybody in the 80s was taught not to do. But enough about that. We need to bring back music and heavy metal to America. And I'm calling for bands that are kind of like Motley Crue used to be. Not dope and all that junk. I'm talking musically. Bands like Ozzy used to be. Bands like Dio. Oh, yeah. You know, Jorn sounds a lot like Dio. I just feel, I might be a little sideways here, but I just feel that he would be a lot better off with an American backing band. The guy's got a tremendous voice. I mean, he's between David Coverdale and Ronnie James Dio. I mean, he can do both of them. So he's an amazing, amazing singer. So check him out. His name's Jorn. But he's from across seas too. I mean, and a lot, during the 80s, a lot of guys was from across seas as well. David Coverdale was from across seas. Ozzy was from across seas, but they hired mainly American bands to back them. And that really spread the money around. And at that time, places like New York City and Los Angeles had no excuse not to keep their city up, clean, tidy, keep the graffiti up off the walls, because you had enough musicians in both those towns at that time, and Chicago included in this. Chicago and Seattle both included in this, and Dayton, Ohio, and Cleveland, Ohio, both. Ohio is very fortunate. Dayton is the home of funk, and Cleveland, Ohio is the home of rock and roll. So, and that's another thing. We need to reel in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rap is not rock and roll. Country is not rock and roll. Rock and roll evolved into heavy metal. Those two go together, yes. Nothing evolved off of rap or country, except hemorrhoids and hangovers. Okay? Double H. Beetlejuice Hobbs. But yeah, check it out. Let's pull some guitarists out, American guitarists, and everybody's going into the blues because it's a solo act and they get a backing band and whoa, look at me. Whoa, you suck. Get out of here. I want to see people working together. I'm tired of the individuality. Somewhere during the Nirvana piss on was like this fucking surge of just sorry ass. It's all about me. It's my world. It's me. People quit working together. They quit talking. They quit communicating. They quit sitting across from each other and saying, okay, how can we work this out? That's what we got to do. That's how we bring this back. We have got to come together. Everybody's got to get invested in the movement. I mean, who wouldn't like to see Cinderella make a comeback? I would love to see Cinderella make a comeback. Who wouldn't? I mean, if you could knock 20 years off of Ozzy, I'd like to see Ozzy again, you know. And, you know, the thing that cracks me up, Ozzy Osbourne said at one point in time, at least it was reported because I heard it on the radio. So third-hand information now that I'm giving it to you. But this has been years ago. He said, if I'm going to pass the Prince of Darkness thing down to anybody, it would be Marilyn Manson. And I thought, you freaking schmuck. What kind of mushrooms have you ate this week? Holy shit, what a thing to say. I mean, good grief, man. Because Dio at that time was still alive. And I'm like, that was truly a love-hate relationship. They loved to hate each other. It was like, oh my God, there's no peace here. But I don't want to see that no more. You know, I miss watching Dire Straits. Yes, they were an English band. But where did they make it? America. Where did all the bands make it? America. People went out and bought their CDs, or they downloaded them and paid for it. And they got royalties from places like YouTube. And I'm trying to remember the name of that thing that kicked off, and that kid got sued by Metallica, I think John Denver. There were so many stars, and Garth Brooks sued him so bad that he had, I mean, even YouTube don't mess with much of Garth Brooks stuff. I mean, you want to hear his stuff, you got to buy it or hear it on the radio. It's that simple. And I don't blame him. He put in hard time to make his music. He's deserving of that. You know, and I would be the same way, you know. Get the little tag-alongs off my tailcoat. You know, they're not even in the industry. They're just trying to make money off of something that they don't know nothing about.